Hi, my name is Debra R. Richardson of Debra R. Richardson LLC, and I help you clean up your vendor data, clean up your vendor processes so that you can pay the right vendor. Now, this week's Vendor Master File tip of the week is 3 ways to speed up the vendor ad change process. And I recently did a podcast on 12 tips to add efficiency to the vendor process since we are in the Great Resignation and you may be short on vendor team meetings. So let's take a look at the 3 tips. Now, the first one is to create customized forms. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the IRS does allow substitute W-9 forms. And we know that one of the biggest pain points is vendors not knowing how to complete those IRS W-9 forms accurately. So since they do allow substitute W-9 forms, how about combining the IRS Form W-9 with your vendor setup form. And then that way, all you have to do is ask for their legal name and their DBA or the name the invoices will be submitted in. And then they don't need to know what a disregarded entity is, which always kind of trips them up. Another customized form that you can create is a customized company branded ACH form. And on that form, you can also request authenticating data so that you know you're dealing with the vendor and not with a fraudster. I will put a link to a template company branded ACH form or vendor banking form that you can purchase on my site. And I'll also put a link for more information on how to create a substitute W-9 form. Now, the second way is to track confirmations of the bank changes. So if you do not have a fully authenticated process, such as a vendor portal or authentication of the requester and authentication of the data that I talk a lot about on my channel, then you need to make those confirmation calls when receiving requests to update vendor data, such as vendor banking. Now, this is, as you know, a very manual process, and the vendors are more than likely not standing around waiting for you to call them. And so it takes multiple calls. And so if you track those confirmations, then, or the attempts at the confirmation, then if you're out or your team member is out, then someone else can come in and continue where they left off. And plus you get to track and monitor them to make sure that they don't get forgotten about. Now, the third one is a vendor welcome letter. So send a vendor welcome letter. When you onboard a vendor, send them a letter or an email telling them how to do business with accounts payable. In addition to that, tell them where to send the invoice and then also tell them what's required if they have any changes to their vendor data. And that saves the vendor team time without having to, or because they could possibly avoid having the vendor call them to ask them the very same thing. All right, so I hope those 3 tips will help you. And if you want more information on how to improve your vendor processes, please go to my website at deborarrichardson.com for free tools and resources to avoid fraud, regulatory fines, and bad vendor data. So good luck and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified next Tuesday for the next Vendor Master File tip of the week.